Will Iran officially meet the peace deal agreements? Is SpaceX doomed? What is next? Hey, everybody, welcome back to another beautiful day in real estate. Today, we're going to jump into a few different things, mainly going to do a market update today. We don't have a lot of news to bring to the table. However, the market has really reacted in a unique way over the last few months, the last few weeks. So we're going to break that down for you guys today. First, as always, interest rates, we'll kind of gloss over them. 6.6% on the conventional, 6.25, 6.26 on the FHA and VA. That is the, like I said, they moved up slightly, mainly because of what's going on in the Iran war. After this weekend, we did have a lot of stuff floating around in the news, but ultimately the United States and Iran sat in a room for about 9 hours negotiating a deal, and they actually agreed to have the UN come in and inspect their nuclear plants to ensure they're not creating nuclear weapons, and they're focusing on nuclear development as a country. Either way, long story short, it didn't sound like peace deals initially started out great this weekend, but they ended up kind of on a better note. Both countries are just trying to pull their dicks out and essentially say, I have a pissing match to see who's got a bigger dick. But to be honest with you, the big thing is that we're moving forward. No matter what the news says, we're moving forward. So these, interest rates are going to be a little bit more volatile until this is completely settled. But until then, the 6.5 to 6% to 6.5% mortgage rates it's going to be that common thing that you're just going to continue to notice and pay attention to and see. So we'll keep a close eye on that as we progress through the week. Let's talk about oil right away. Oil is not looking great either, which, I mean, if depending on what side of the barrel you're on, is good, could be good, could be bad. But we did notice, and this is the Brent crude oil spot on the daily chart. We are about to close this gap before the major run, which was back here in February, end of February. This is right before the war started. So we're almost back to pre-war levels or pre-conflict levels, which is going to be kind of exciting to see. More than likely, $71 a barrel is going to happen here in the next couple of weeks, maybe even next couple of days. You've noticed the volume started high at the beginning of the war and has continued to decline ever since we've progressed through it. So, I mean, not a perfect trend, but if you put the lines there, you can kind of see the volume has went down. When volume goes down, what does that mean? That just means that less buying, less selling is going on, so less volatile moves, right? When you have a ton of volume like this, that's why you see the major moves. Bounced off of $78 a barrel. The trend line, the support and resistance has been pretty accurate so far, and as we continue to hit new trend lines, we're starting to pay attention more and more to previous history. Now, it is bouncing off slightly, but again, with minimum volume, more than likely it's going to kind of do one of these numbers where it's going to bounce and then it's just going to come right back down again. So, I mean, there's no guarantee, obviously, but it is very plausible that that's going to happen here in the next couple of days. WTI crude, again, pretty similar concept to what we're expecting. It's already showing weaker signs as it broke below the support and is not finding its way. It's not finding its way back up just yet. So, again, stochastic is pretty low. I'm not seeing very much momentum in the RSI itself. Both of them are not seeing very positive momentum, buying pressure, anything along those lines. So I expect them to continue to bleed over the next few weeks, which is good because that's will float into 10-year treasury bonds because people are going to be buying risk off assets, which will then trickle into your mortgage rates. So good stuff there to be paying attention to. Pretty excited about that kind of stuff. Honestly, I've been waiting for oil to kind of reach pre-war levels for a while. Now the big topic of discussion, we are going to break down the SpaceX. There's not much to break down. The chart doesn't look like much, but it is proving a point that we talked about for the last couple of weeks, which is that SpaceX was completely overhyped and overvalued, and there's no reason for it to be at $200 a share. Unfortunately, a majority of you out there bought in at the bell, maybe saw it run up for a day or two, expected it to continue to run, didn't pull any profits, and here we are. The problem is not that SpaceX is a bad company. It's what happens with every single IPO, especially a high-profile CEO. It's very simple stuff to pay attention to, and this is where you have to remove emotion, remove that mentality, and just look from the 30,000-foot overview and pay attention, right? The valuation to be the number 4 most valued stock in the world on day one, it was zero product produced or any revenue or anything on the stock market. There's no data on the stock market to say, hey, this company is worth $3 trillion, 2.7, whatever it was. I think it got up to like 4 trillion. The retail investor does not have the kind of money that most people think. And what happens is this is similar to an ESOP where the employees own portions of the company, right? Own equity in the company. And when it goes public, then you get those shares at a very significantly reduced price because you earned them. A lot of people get them through bonuses and that sort of nature, or just simply being at the company. What happens is then the employees make a lot of money on the IPO because they're buying it at $20 a share or $15 a share or whatever the case is. So insiders are up significantly, but what the retail market hypes it. The news is hyping it. Fox News, CNN, every channel is talking about SpaceX and this beautiful, perfect stock that's going to go to the moon. It's never going to come down. And then this stuff happens literally a week into it, not even a full week into it. Okay, it's probably one Friday. So yeah, we've been in this thing for 11 days. You're going to see this kind of fall down. More than likely, it's just going to keep coming down, and then it's going to do kind of a crab market before it makes its way up. But it's going to be like this for a while. It's just going to kind of, I don't expect it to bottom, but that's what happens with stocks and with cryptos, really. They IPO, they ICO, the market runs based off of hype. We saw this a ton during the 2021 bull market, and then it fell off a cliff. And now we're getting to a point in the market where tech is actually taking precedent and could potentially. I think that tech is going to be the next crash or next reason for the crash again, to be honest with you, because it's not that it's, how do I put this? It's not that it's bad. It's just, it's a very gambling mentality market right now. So there's really no valuation behind these companies. It's all hype. And when you see stuff like that, you're typically close to the peak of a market. We have the blow off top for the S&P 500, and that sits 20% of the stocks in the S&P 500 are tech stocks that are actually keeping the market elevated. That's not very strong. It's not a strong basis. So that's why the market's so volatile, because it's kind of seeing its peak of the markets. Meaning if stimulus came in again, yeah, the markets would continue to go up. But right now it's running out of liquidity. It's running out of options. And the market is starting to see very significant waves up and down. And when stuff like that happens, it just means that there's so much volatility because there's so much emotionally driven purchasing, where people are dumping money into one thing, making a little bit of money, and dumping it into another, and it just cycles through each stock. I think it was Dell or Intel. Intel ran pretty aggressively. You saw other companies that kind of took off, and now they're consolidating or coming back down. Strategy B was a big one that I saw too, but that's another conversation. Excuse me, for another day. And then my Nvidia, favorite one, Nvidia, does not look like it's doing too well as of right now either. Again, I understand the excitement behind these companies, but the reality that we have to pay attention to is, is it probable that it even exists, right? Does it exist? Is it worth that much money? And short answer is most of the time it is not. So we'll pay attention to this over the next couple of weeks. We got a couple minutes left here. We're going to jump into the Trump and Iran has fully, well, let's just read it to you guys, honestly. Trump, Iran has officially or fully and completely agreed to the highest level of nuclear inspections long into the future indefinitely. He announced that the Strait of Hormuz will continue to open with no further naval blockade. I think 19 million barrels has transferred through the Strait of Hormuz in the last few days, which has been good news for us. Funds will be released into U.S.-controlled escrow for food and medical supplies from American farmers. That's actually really awesome. Full statement, despite the protestations and false statements to the contrary, coupled with the drumbeat of the fake news, the way that these people word shit is insane, which is doing everything possible to make U.S. victory as small and as insignificant as possible. Iran has fully and completely agreed to highest level of nuclear inspections long into the future indefinitely. This will ensure nuclear honesty. If they do not agree to this, then there would be no further negotiations based on this and other major concessions being made by the Iran. I have agreed to allow the Strait of Hormuz to remain open with no further naval blockade. However, all ships are remaining in place should be necessary to reinstitute the blockade, which seems at this point highly unlikely. The money and or sanctions that the U.S. Treasury is releasing goes into an escrow account controlled by the USA and will be used for the purchase of food and medical supplies exclusively from the United States, including corn, wheat, and soybeans from our great American farmers. These are things that are desperately needed in Iran. This is a humanitarian crisis. I feel it is necessary to help now before it's too late. Talks are going well. Thank you for your attention on this matter. They're moving forward with a deal. There's not much to today's video other than a market update and just talking a little bit about this, because here's the thing. This stuff is, hopefully they continue on the right path, because if they do, we could see a lot more money coming into the economy, oil flowing, oil prices going down, interest rates following. And I just saw an article this morning talking about how Kevin Warsh might be dropping interest rates as soon as July 17th. So we will dive into Kevin Warsh tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and follow, and we will see you soon.